Welcome back. Now, as I mentioned in the previous video on balancing equation, this is the second vantage point on how to go about solving balancing chemical equation. While this is probably not very common in a typical, chemistry curriculum to have you solve the formula and then balance it, I prefer this way because then you might ask me, why did I spend all that time teaching you how to come up with formula if I don't ever see the relations of it in a chemical equation? So from now on, almost every mathematical problem, everything you see, I would actually make you come up with the formula and then solve it. Occasionally I might give you a problem where I give you a formula to solve, because again, that's also something you need to know. So without further ado, this is a good place for you to remember how to come up with formula. So chloride is coming from chlorine, right? So that is Cl, right? And chlorine is 7, so we need one more. So 8 minus 1 is 1, and chlorine is a nonmetal, so 1 minus. And lead is a transition metal, so 2 goes with the lead, so Pb is 2, and lead is a metal, so it's plus. They're not the same, so if we cross swap it, we're going to get PbCl2. Plus, sodium is a metal, so Na1 plus, because sodium is in group 1, so I don't need to give you the Roman numeral. I made that very clear when I taught you this. And sodium is a metal. Nitrate is NO3 minus. I prefer to put this in bracket. So since they're 1 plus and 1 minus, they cancel out. So all we need to do is, even though it's not conventionally expected of you for sodium nitrate to write the NO3 within brackets, I always do, simply because to stay consistent with when things go a little bit more complex. All right, now let's draw an arrow. Again, lead is Pb, and the 2 goes with the lead, so 2, and lead is a metal, so plus, and nitrate is NO3 1 minus, so I put this in bracket. So this is why I put it in bracket. Remember, the 2 comes out, don't put it next to the 3, and the 1 comes here. You don't ever write the 1, so PbNO3 twice, plus sodium is 1 plus, and Cl is 1 minus. Now again, you have to go back. I can put the link for the video in the description, but still I think you have to go see that yourself, so you actually remember it. And there we have it. Now let's go solve. As always, you start with anything but oxygen. I have 1 Pb on this side, 2 Cl, 1 Na, and 3 oxygen, and 1 nitrogen, right? That's what I have on this side. And then on this side, I have 1 Pb, 1 N, 2 N, right? 6 oxygen, 1 Na, and 1 Cl. Sorry, there was not enough space, so I'm putting it here. Okay? So Pb is equal, so let's skip that. We got 2 Cl, we got 1 Cl, so let's multiply the Cl by 2 by putting 2 here, which changes our sodium as well. All right, so we have 1 sodium, so let's put 2 here. So 2 sodium. And in the process, what have we done? We have changed the nitrogen to 2 and oxygen to 6, right? And see, it tallies out. Now we have everything perfect, and let's just put a 1 here. So that's the balanced equation, so we can put a 1 here as well. Now it's not so much you come up with. I might give you terms on either side of the equation where the balancing is not tricky because you're actually solving the formula. So it's compensation. I can give you the formula and make it very hard, or I can give you the name and make the balancing part easier. So it's one-off. There's nothing big deal about either way. But I want you to know this, because then all the time you spent learning how to come up with formula is a waste of time if you don't basically ever use it in the chemistry itself. So manganese 4, so manganese is Mn, and 4 goes with it. It's a metal, so it's 4 plus. Chromate is CrO4 1 minus. Put this in bracket. Now swap it, so you'll get Mn CrO4, close the bracket, plus sodium is 1 plus and Cl is 1 minus, so it's basically NaCl. Going to manganese is again 4 and it's a metal, plus Cl is 1 minus, so it's MnCl4, plus sodium is 1 plus and chromate is CrO4 1 minus, so it's NaCrO4. Well, that's pretty easy. So let's go and solve this. So 1 Mn, 4 Cr, 16 oxygen, 1 Na, and 1 Cl. That's what we have on this side. And we have 1 Mn, 4 Cl, 1 Na, 1 Cr, and 4 oxygen. Right? Mn is the same. Well, we got 4 chromium and you got 1 chromium, so we can multiply that by 4, which means we multiply the whole thing by 4. So now we have 4 chromium, which works out, and then we have 4 sodium now, which also works out, and then we have 16 oxygen, which also works out. So what is that we haven't changed this? We have 1 Cl on this side, we have 4, so just put a 4 here, which also neutralizes your Na to 4 Na and 4 Cl. There you go. See, it's easy. It took me like 10 seconds to solve it. So let's go put 1 wherever there's not a number. So it's important that when you watch this video, that you review your knowledge how to write a formula, because from now on, every time I give you a math problem, we haven't still done any intensive math so far in this course, but if I have to give you a math problem, I most likely will give you a formula, name, and then you have to come up with the formula and then solve the problem. So make sure you know still you're confident on how to come up with chemical formulas given a name. All right? Stay tuned.